All right, so philosophy. We're going to talk about philosophy. All right, so it's likened unto a pretty girl at a bar. A pretty girl at the bar drinking a martini. Beautiful girl, all right? A beautiful girl, which is an egg coming out of the ovary. So you can just picture the egg, the pretty girl at the bar as an egg coming out of the ovary. Okay, egg is valuable things, right? Ovum, like the oocyte, that's so very very valuable, right? If anybody can quantify how much, how much that would be worth, let's not waste our childbearing years. So that's what I'm trying to say, right? Um, so the ovum, right? The fertilization of the ovum, right? That's just what I'm trying to say. Okay, so the oocyte, the egg. Okay, let's just call it an egg, right? It can be likened as to a pretty girl at the bar, right? So she's brand new in town, right? She just arrived in Paris. Let's say, for example, Paris or London or Tokyo or any city like New York City, right? Whatever big city you want to imagine. A pretty girl sitting at the bar with her drinking a martini. Just or wine or whatever romantic kind of idea you want to put in your head, because I mean there's nothing more romantic than the sperm coming into the presence and being a candidate of the egg, right? The egg is going to literally interview, right? These sperm, and she say, well, what about you? And so do you have a car? I mean, do you have a job? Do you have a house? I mean, all this stuff. It's like an interview. It's like literally an interview, and this pretty girl will like simultaneously evaluate every potential mate, right? And then here's the beautiful part: is she will actually just say you. Yeah, I will pick you. I will pick you. And here you are, right? Here you are. There's the zygotic genome activation. That happens before this the zygotic genome activation. Okay, so this happens like there's a whole bunch of sperm trying to get in. They're trying everything they can. Oh, you're so beautiful. Let me buy you a drink. Here's some flowers. They're trying and trying and trying, right? But then it is actually the the oocyte that will allow the penetration of that one sperm. It must be a very very special sperm that will penetrate, and then the zygotic genome activation will be as after that. So the first part is the egg will be released from the ovary, and then after that the sperm will come into contact with the egg, and then after that the sperm one lucky sperm will be chosen. Like it's not like the sperm will just ram and be there, right? So, but the IVF, right, the technician says, oh, well, look at these, a whole bunch of sperms here. We're gonna just pick this one here. He looks motile enough. Boom, right into the egg. I'm not even joking. That's how they do it, right? That's the whole point of IVF, right? They will pick the sperm and they will put him or her into the egg, and this is a fertilized ovum. This is a baby. Okay, then this zygotic genome activation happens after that. So then I'm all like, well, is it the best possible sperm? Well, maybe it is, right? By chance, it could be a zero in 0.0001 chance that it is the actual sperm that the egg was going to choose, but probably not, right? So probably not. It was not that lucky guy. So you can think of that like an advanced, arranged marriage. Okay, an arranged marriage where my wife's parents are actually arranged marriages, right? My wife's dad didn't even know my wife's mom until the wedding night. Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's it. That's the thing. I'm not even joking. My wife's dad, daughters and my daughters and my son's grandfather didn't even know their grandmother until eh, the wedding night, or shortly before. But they didn't have a say. I mean, you're getting married. This is the girl you're marrying. That's that, right? An arranged marriage. Okay, so an IVF is an arranged marriage where it's not so. I mean, it could be romantic and all this stuff. Arranged marriages are, okay, whatever. Arranged marriage, whatever. That's the IVF. But the pretty girl at the bar is the natural, fertility. That's how most of us are conceived, right? So the vast majority of people come into the world, but naturally or whatever. So what is natural, right? Then I started to ask myself, what is natural, right? So then natural, well, isn't not and we're talking purely philosophy here, purely because if we get into you know law and all this stuff, we're going to be very very sick. Because every time I think about the case, it's tormenting me. So the best way that I can actually get rid of that kind of feeling is to look at it from a philosophical point of view, right? So is it not natural that the technician is a living, breathing human being and picks the sperm? Isn't that the one, right? Isn't that the lucky one? Isn't that the one? Well, it is. Okay, it is. Is it not? So then I'm like, well, is it unnatural to do that, right? I'm not saying anything about, and if you're an IVF baby, I'm not saying that you are, not academically gifted or not, good at sports, or you have some sort of weakness. I'm not saying that at all, and nobody's going to say that. Okay, so don't even start. I'm not suggesting that at all, but I am suggesting that, was that sperm the lucky one? But it was. You know, what a haunting question, right? What a frightening reality to have to think about this technology, right? This technology, is it not natural? Is it not? Is man-made not natural? So what is natural? So a natural is, like, for example, a lion ripping the guts out of a gazelle and all that stuff. You got that. Is natural, not some sort of, species going extinct because, whatever, because the humans are eating them or whatever. Is that not nature? Is nature like some radioactive chemicals coming out of the Chernobyl, wasteland and all that stuff? You got radioactive particles making people sick and all this stuff dying. Is that not nature? Is there such a is does unnatural even exist? Well, then you start thinking about, okay, well, what about evil, right? Evil nature, right? Is wrong. Is clearly wrong, right? It's clearly wrong to make these birth control pills and give it to the woman, and lie to them. And that's why there's a set of rules like thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not lie. So you're lying to the woman, you're killing the baby, right? You're breaking two of the commandments. It's right there. Right? The law is the law. I mean, you're not gonna lie to a woman to say that these birth control pills prevent pregnancy when they don't, and then after that it's going to cause the death of a baby. You're killing a baby. Just a clump of cells. Get out of here. It's just the blastocyst failed to implant. I'm done with that. I'm done entertaining that nonsense. Right? The ZGA, the zygotic genome activation, is complete. It's a baby. I mean, there's no denying that. These flawed arguments are just annoying, and they're just taking so much space. They're noisy. All right, so let's get back to philosophy. Is it not natural, right? Is all this, brainwashing and deception, and also there must be some of this brainwashing and deception. So for example, like, the how did the Reds keep getting into Canada is all the brainwashing and deception. I was talking to this about my, a little bit of political science, right? It's clear that they're, brainwashing the people on the Canadian broadcasting system. They're the Trump is so terrible, he's going to take over Canada, but we have to get this red guy in. We have to get, everybody vote for the red because he's going to defend us against Donald Trump. Never mind what his policies are about, like killing a whole bunch of babies, right? We're just going to vote for him because we hate Donald Trump. The emotion is so strong. And, you talk to these people, and I hate Donald Trump. I hate Donald Trump so much. Oh, I wish and Elon Musk and J.D. Vance, his little puppet, right? His puppet. They hate him. They really, really do. Clearly propaganda. Clearly they swallowed a large glass full of state-sponsored. What is it, right? Let's be honest, right? They're brainwashing. They're putting ideas in people's heads about emotion, right? They're charging them with emotion so that they don't think rationally or logically about who they're voting for, because these are women. I mean, women have the right to vote, right? It used to be a time that the women's rights and all this stuff. We want the right to vote. Okay, well, how about we have a one vote per family like it was before, and the system, seemed to be going really well at that time. But whatever. I'm just saying the Reds are always getting in. Why are they getting in? So because there's lots and lots of funding that goes towards the propaganda. They say, I hate Donald Trump. I hate him. And I have to vote for the Red because the Red is going to protect me from the thing that I hate. Right? This one was particularly clear how they were brainwashing the people, and they all had the same idea. You talk to it's one mouthpiece. You talk to a whole bunch of people. It's the same story. I hate Donald Trump. I'm going to vote red because if I and I'm scared of the blue. Right? That's basically, I'm scared. I'm scared of the blue. I hate Donald Trump. What? These are just emotionally charged comments that do not equate to rational, logical thinking, right? Am I the only one seeing this, right? But anyway, that's how the Reds got in. All right, so the Reds got in again, right? So more, killing of infant children, right? The abortions, right? Like late term abortions, and all this stuff. That's. I mean, everybody can agree. That's just every rational person can agree. I mean, that's just straight up nonsense. But see, the thing that people don't see, because there's such a high level of deception, is that the birth control pills actually do, not prevent the conception. The conception is very successful most of the, not most of the time, or not most of the time. It's at some there is a percentage of the time that the conception is successful, and when that conception is successful, and it will happen, the baby will be subsequently killed, which is a extremely concerning, right? So the whole thing about philosophy, well, is this all natural, right? Is this political brainwashing natural? Is the bribes from the pharmaceutical companies natural, right? Isn't this the way that our society, that a society that is on the decline, right? Because it's clear that our society is doomed, right? It's clear. There's no saving it. It's not like women are just gonna, like, all of a sudden go back to being in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant, like, all of a sudden. And I'm not a misogynist. I love women. Okay, so don't even get me started. But it's not like it's going to happen, right? The women are just not interested in that anymore. They are very, very comfortable with their power, right? What is the power? Their power, it's very, very clear that. So the power of the woman, right, is that. See, here's a new question that does Dr. Dow actually know that well, she does, she definitely knows, but she knows that this power, even if they're deceived, right, they will still yield in that power. The power to yeah, the power to do what? To literally to make a whole bunch of money, and to live for yourself, and to be a career driven woman, right? But the consequences of that is the literal fall of the civilization. But is that the power that Dr. Michel Dow has given unto the woman? And I do believe it is. But I don't. I don't think they think it through to that much of a degree. But that's a fair point. What am I trying to say? Dr. Dow knows that these birth control pills cause the death of children. It's frightening to say that, but she actually knows it, and she knows that she's culpable. But why is she doing this? She thinks the means justify the ends justify the means, right? That's a good point. It could be that. We have to explore every possible avenue. Why is this so many deaths? Do the ends justify the means? Well, what? Okay, the end. The only, she only thinks as far as getting that woman into a career and getting her a nice house, and she's able to live for herself, in an independent manner, and she doesn't have to depend on a man and cook sandwiches, right? But I, because I'm smarter than her, will think further into into this civilization, the Western culture, and say our race, okay, and don't start with the white, supremacist argument. I don't even want to hear that, right? It's clear that this particular race is attacked, but also the northern northeastern Asian countries like South Korea and Japan, and Taiwan, and Singapore, and these kinds of countries they're being attacked, right? So the birth rate that is falling, you can never recover from that. It can never be, right. You can never. South Korea, I mean, they have baby strollers, right? And you look at them, and there's a puppy. There's a puppy in the baby stroller. Isn't that so creepy? Isn't that so creepy? It's very, very creepy. It gives me a chill up and down my spine just thinking about that. You're riding you're literally pushing a baby stroller in South Korea. This is very, very common, and it's a baby stroller in South Korea. And there's a puppy, not just one. I'll see ya.